Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making this Hello Kitty. I know it's hard to see with the little tail, but this is what we're going to be starting today, and we're going to start with the legs. So you're going to need your white. I will turn down my camera a bit so you can see this. So let's just jump right into this, because this is going to be a long... I'm going to try to make this video short, so it's probably going to be a lot of pause screens and written patterns, just to keep the video short. I still am going to make this a tutorial, so it's not like you're going to not be taught anything. So we're going to start with the magic ring. Inside the magic ring, we're going to put 6 single crochets. Pull that closed. You're going to need a stitch marker for this, because we are making this amigurumi style. So in each of these 6 stitches, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So you can use your stitch marker, or you can just count to 12. Pull your middle closed. Your next round is going to be an increase round, so you're going to put 1 single crochet with your stitch marker. The next stitch is going to get 2 single crochets. Sorry, I didn't get underneath both stitches, both pieces of yarn. So put 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way around back to your marker, and at the end you should have 18 stitches. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet. You should end your sequence with 2 single crochets by your marker. Your next round is going to be 1, 1, 2. So 2 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1. Then the next stitch gets 1, so that's 2 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets. 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, and then this stitch gets 2. So you repeat that all the way around. When you get back to your marker, you should have 24 stitches. So you should have 24 stitches. So for the next 10 rows, you're going to put 1 stitch in each of those 24 stitches. I'm obviously not going to do the 10 rows with you. I'm going to leave you to do the 10 rows. And then you're going to make the other leg. So I'm going to put the pattern on the screen for you to make the other leg. And then you can stuff it. You can fasten off with one of the legs. And I will meet you. Do not sew the top shut if you're an avid crocheter. We're not sewing the top shut. We're crocheting them together. So I will meet you back here after the pause screen and the pattern screen, and we'll continue. So I got both my legs done. I'm just putting a little bit of stuffing in them, and we're going to crochet these together, leaving a little bit of a space. So I'm just putting a little bit of stuffing in. So find where you want the legs to come together. I think I'm going to do it where I fastened off here and it kind of looks funny. I'm going to put that over here. I'm going to take a stitch marker just to hold these two together while I work. So we're just going to single crochet. This is where I start and stop, but I'm going to change that. For now I'll mark it with my marker, but I'm going to change where I start and stop. Be hard to hold, but single crochet up to your marker. I'm going to chain 2 for in between the legs. And then I'm going to come across to the other side right next to the marker. So you're going to have a small hole in your crotch. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to single crochet until I get to my marker. Chain 2. And then single crochet until I get back to my other marker. However, I am going to move my marker, so. And the reason being is because I want to do a color change, and I want, right now this marker is at the side of the body, and I want it to be at the back of the body for when I do the color change, which is coming up. So that's really the only reason. So I can't give you numbers, can't give you counts, because it's going to be all screwed up because of all of this. I don't know how many spaces you put between your legs. You may have put, you know, a chain 3 to make your space bigger, or a chain 1 to make your space smaller. So I don't know what you did, so I can't give you numbers. But that generally goes with the dolls, if you follow me at all. My other characters. So I'm back around to this marker at the back, or the front, or however you want to look at it. I'm going to chain 2 because that's what I did the other side. And then I'm going to come across. And I'm just going to crochet a couple more because, like I said, I want to keep this at the back. This won't make your doll look funny, changing the position of your... It won't even be noticeable that you've changed the position. So that's basically right at the back of the doll. And that's where my new marker position is going to be. So this is where we're going to change the colors. So we're going to go to pink because she is pink. I mean, I guess some pictures of Hello Kitty have a red dress, so I mean, you could be going red if you wanted to. So, I'm just going to go into the next stitch. I'm just going to kind of droop this over my hook, and I'm going to pull it through. And then with my lead, I'm going to pull through like it's a stitch. Make sure you pull that white right down so it brings your pink right down to where it should be. And then you're going to have to weave in the pink and the white. But you're just going to do another single crochet all the way around. And keep this snug. You can cut the white off when you're about halfway around. I think is a good comfort zone spot to be. Make sure you got the white and the pink tail in there for your weave. It can be awkward, but makes life a lot easier, and you know that your doll is not ever going to come undone. So once we cut the white off, we can sew this crotch up too, so we'll do that after. I could probably cut the white off now. I don't need to keep. I'm going to still weave in some more of the pink though. Only went through one of the... So when you get to here, you're obviously going to have to go into the stitch, which can be awkward. Just make sure you're pulling tight. It's only 2 stitches that you have to try to get into. And if you try to not force it, it works out easier for you. Not me so much, apparently. Holy crap, this could go on forever.
So I'm not sure why I can't get into that stitch. There we go. I've never had that problem before.
So there's a stitch before and a stitch after, directly after. And make sure you get into those stitches. This is the stitch right before. Yeah, that's just what I weaved in, so I can just snip that off. So you're going to single crochet with the pink, just like this, for the next 5 rows. So you should have 6 in the pink altogether. So for the next 5 rows, and I'll meet you back here after. So I've got my 5 rows down. I've got 6 altogether. I'm gonna take out this one down here because I should have done that in the last clip. I don't need it anymore. I put a little bit of filling in the legs just to make it easier to hold on to. But I'm not really going to come up because, number one, I still have a hole in the crotch that we're going to sew up right now. I just wanted to put some filling in the legs because when I go to weave my ends in from sewing, I'm going to do it in this, I'm going to use the stuffing to weave into. So that is the method of my madness. So take some of your white. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. It's not that big of a hole. So in this one end, you're going to make a slip knot. However you make one. Doesn't matter. Pull it till it's small enough to get a needle through anyway. We're going to take a needle. So I guess it's a bigger hole than I thought it was. So you're going to come in through this stitch right there, and you're going to come out through this stitch. Actually, no, sorry. You're going to come out through this stitch right here. You don't really have to go that far. So when you pull, then you can go through this slip knot, and then you're gonna just absolutely pull as tight as you can, make everything so small, like the knot and everything. And I'm gonna go through that again, that same space. Give a snug little pull. Hard to show on camera. And then I'm just going to do what's called a whip stitch, but a little more. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whip stitch is the back loop to the back loop. That it doesn't matter how many pieces of yarn. If you're comfortable with 2 or 4 pieces of yarn on there, then you can do that. Just letting you know, it's not necessary. If you do a regular whip stitch, you're going to be perfectly fine. It's not going to come undone, even just being through 1 piece of yarn each. It's going to hold. So just remember to pull snug. But you don't have to be that worried about it coming undone if you're only going through the 1 piece. And then of course we want to do up the side of our leg a little bit. So you can't really tell that there's much stitching going on. The side of the leg is a little awkward. The stitches are in an awkward spot. Kind of in a sideways spot. So once you've got your crotch all sewn up, you can just go in as close as you can to your lead guy here, so it just looks like a stitch, but go into that stuffing and then pop out somewhere. So when you pull, it's just going to look like a stitch. And that's why I say go in as close as you can to your lead. And then just pop out wherever you pop out. So when you pull, I know that's so hard to see. It just looks like a stitch. So, and then you can do the same with your one over here. Keep doing that until you're satisfied that nothing's going to come undone. And then your little string from when you did your slip knot. Again, go in as close as you can to that string. Put your needle into the stuffing thread it, and then pull this through. You probably only have to do this once. Pull too tight. And then you can snip it off. And that's your hole. So you can hardly tell that you've even sewn a hole shut. So moving on, we're going to start decreasing now. This is where I'm going to put up a lot of pause screens so that you don't have to wait for me to crochet. You can just go ahead and do it. So our first decrease is going to be 6 single crochets and a decrease. So you're going to do 6 single crochets, so that's number 1 with your stitch marker. And then your decrease, sorry it's hard to hold, bear with me. So your decrease is you go into the first stitch, you grab some yarn, you pull through, and then you don't do anything. You go into your second stitch, you grab some yarn, you pull through. So now you should have 3 loops on. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all those 3 loops. So that's a decrease. Sometimes you'll see it written as single crochet 2 tog, and that means the same thing. So it's the exact same thing. So that's your decrease. So that's what we're going to do throughout the project. And then you repeat. So 6 single crochets, and then your decrease. So do that all the way around, and at the end of it, because you should have had 48 stitches. Again, I don't know how many spaces you put between your legs, but these were 24, that's 48. The chain 2 is the 2 stitches we missed on the inside, so you should have had 48. At the end of this decrease, you should have 42 stitches, and I'll meet you on the other side. So you should have 42 stitches, and this next round you're going to be able to count them. So this next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 42. So I will let you go do that, and I will meet you when you're done. So your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and a decrease. That's number 1 with your marker. So that's 5. And your decrease. So you can carry on, and after this you can do your 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'll put it on my screen so you know what you're doing, and I'll meet you back here after all of that's done, and we will carry on. Okay, so you would have done your decrease row, then you would have done a regular row. So now we're going to do a decrease row again, and it's going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease, and then a regular row after of 1 single crochet in each stitch around. I'm just trying to make this video short, not long. So make sure you're reading the prompts on the screen. So that's number 1. Four single crochets and a decrease, and then repeat. So after you do this, you're going to have 30 stitches. So your next row, 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should be able to use that to count how many stitches and then make any corrections if you have to. And I will meet you back on the other side. So your next row is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and a decrease. So I do this all the way around, and at the end you should have 24 stitches, and then you can do your row of 1 single crochet in each stitch after that for 24 stitches, and I'll put my pause screen up and I'll meet you back on the other side. So at this point I think I'm going to put some stuffing in it. I really want to make sure those legs are filled properly. I do want to keep it squishy for, you know, the grandkids playing with it. So if it bounces back, you know it's got enough stuffing in it, but you can make it as full or as not full as you want. But I left my other one fairly squishy, so I'm going to leave this one squishy. I'm not going to fill a lot of the top here. I just wanted to get the legs done. So your next row is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease for 18. At the end of it will be 18. So that's 1. That's 2. And then your decrease. So you can continue to do this all the way around. 2 single crochets and a decrease. And you should have 18 stitches at the end of it, and then you can do a row of 1 single crochet in each of the 18 stitches. And I'll put my pause screen up and I'll meet you back on the other side. Okie dokie, so last round with the pink before we switch to white, and your final decrease round is going to be 1 single crochet decrease. So that's my 1 single crochet. And then your decrease. So you can complete this round. Actually, I'll just do it with you. It's short enough. So you have 12 stitches at the end of this. And then we're going to switch to white. So you can put some more stuffing in that. And I'll meet you back here with your white, and then we'll switch to white and we'll carry on with our increases. Well, first we'll do a row of single crochets, and then we'll do increases. So get your things stuffed. I gotta change my battery on my camera anyway, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okie dokie. So I've got enough stuffing in it, I think. So we're going to switch to the white. You can just... too much there. hold the loop around your finger like that. I'm trying to find easy ways to do it. I've showed you a few easy ways. You can just grab it and pull through. And then pull through to make a stitch. Pull down on the pink, pull down on the white, and then you're going to try to weave this in. So all you're going to do here is 1 single crochet in each stitch around. You don't need a stitch marker. You're doing 12 stitches. And because we change colors, you don't need a stitch marker. But be sure to weave your ends in. Added security that it's not going to come undone. So you can cut off the pink. So we've done 1 row of the white. So we're gonna increase now. These guys you can bury at this point. Stick that right down into the hole because we don't really need to bother with them anymore. So if you have enough filling in there, that's great. If you don't, you still have the opportunity. We're going to start building the head now. So what I need you to do is 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So immediate aggressive, but I want a nice round head, and that's why I'm making it such an aggressive increase. And I just find that I tend to get more of a rounder head when I'm aggressive with the increases and stuff. So that's the method behind that. So you could have used your stitch marker here. I'm not, because I can see where I connected and where I reconnected with a new color, so I am not. So you should have 24 stitches after this because we had left off with 12 and I'm putting 2 in each stitch. So I'm just about back around. So you can see here where I'd added the color. And then I can see where I had started with my 2 in each space. So my next round I'll use a stitch marker with. So my next round is just going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And this is where you're going to be able to count. Make sure you have 24. And if not, this is where you're going to correct that. So I'm going to use my stitch marker. And I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and I will meet you back here when you're done. Alrighty, so our next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. That's 1. That's 2, and an increase is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So we're going to do this all the way around. At the end you should have 32 stitches, and then you can do your 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'll put my pause screen up, and I will meet you back on the other side. Okie dokie, our next row is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and an increase is 2 single crochets in the same space. So you can do this all the way around, And at the end of it, you should have 40 stitches. And then you can do another round of 1 single crochet in each of those 40 stitches. And I will meet you back here when you're done. So our next round, you guessed it, 4 single crochets and an increase. So that's our first. That counts as 1. That's 4, and then 2 in this stitch makes your increase. So if you want to do this all the way around, you will have a total of 48 stitches after, and then you can do 1 single crochet in each of those 48 stitches, and I will meet you on the other side. Alright, so your next round is going to be 5 single crochets. So this is going to be the end of our increase rounds, as big as we're going. Be 5 single crochets and an increase. So that's number 1. Hello Kitty does have a big head. So that's 5. And then 2 single crochets, and this is your increase. At the end of this you should have 56 stitches, and then you can do 3 rows of single crochets in each stitch. It'll be on my pause screen, you don't have to remember all this. And I will meet you back here after we're done this round and then the 3 other rounds. And then we'll start decreasing and stuffing, and you'll be part way there. I'll see you on the other side of the pause screens. Alright, so this is what this should look like at this point. I did put a little bit of stuffing in there. I really wanted to make sure I got it in the neck part, because I don't believe I put enough stuffing in this neck part, and it's really wobbly. The head is going to be quite large, because on a Hello Kitty has a large melon, so I am going to start my decrease. We are going to start our decreases now. And I'm trying to talk with a thing in my mouth. We're going to start with, so our last increase row was 5 single crochets and an increase, and then we did 3 rows of just single crochets in each of the 56 stitches. So because I ended with 5 single crochets and an increase, I'm going to start with 5 single crochets and a decrease. So that's our number 1. That's my 5, and then your decrease. So go in, yarn over, pull through. You've got 2 loops on. Go into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. Now you got 3. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3. That's a decrease, single crochet decrease. So you're going to do this all the way around, and at the end of it you're going to have 48 stitches. So 5 single crochets and a decrease. And you want to continue doing that, and I will meet you on the other side. So you should have 48 stitches at this point. We're going to jump right into another decrease. So you're going to do 4 single crochets and a decrease. That's number 1. It's 4 single crochets. and a decrease. So proceed with that all the way around, and at the end of it you should have 40 stitches, and then you can go and put your next round will be 1 single crochet in each of those 40 stitches. And I'll put my pause screen up, of course, and I'll meet you back on the other side. Okie dokie, so our next row is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. So that's number 1. Two and 3, and then your decrease. And at the end of it you should have, that's your repeat all the way around, and at the end of it you should have 32 stitches. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. And at the end of this row you should have 24 stitches. So there's number 1. There's number 2. And a decrease. So we're closing it up pretty fast. 1, 2, and a decrease. So it goes really fast from here. So I'm going to put my pause screen up. You can finish your decrease, and at the end of it you should have 24 stitches, and then you can do 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. Alright, so I figured we should probably stuff it before we go any further. I try to avoid stuffing until I'm pretty close to the finish line because it's hard to hold on to. So I like to just pull and push all my stuffing out to the outside. And then I make this nice little pocket in the middle, and then I like to shove the stuffing right down into the middle. Find I get a more even stuffing. Not that I'm here to teach you how to stuff. I'm just giving you an example of how I like to do it, because it's not just putting the stuffing in there. It's pulling it apart so you don't get bunching. It's, you know, stuffing it properly. So just suggestions. I mean, you don't have to take them. But again, I really want to make sure I get into that neck, because I really messed up on the other neck. The head turns out to be just so big that it tends to flop around a lot more than I wanted to on my other doll. Alrighty, so I've got my head stuffed fairly decently. I pulled out more this way because Hello Kitty has more of an oval head. So I pulled out more this way than I did this way to give it that oval shape. So anyway, we're going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease. Try not to get any. I probably put too much stuffing in it for having to finish, but I can work around it. So that's my 1 single crochet, and then my decrease. So at the end of this you should have 16 stitches, and then you're going to put 1 single crochet into those 16 stitches, and then we'll actually start to close the head up. So carry on with your 1 single crochet decrease, and then your 1 single crochet in each stitch after that, and I will meet you back on the other side of the pause screens. Okie dokie. So we just got a little hole left. If you think you need more filling, you can put that in there before we close it up. So I think I'm going to do a little bit. Alright, so we are just going to decrease 8 times. I'll get my thing out. So you don't need your stitch marker anymore. You're going to decrease 8 times, and then we're just going to sew the rest shut. That's 8. So go into your next stitch and you're going to slip stitch. And you can fasten off. So fasten off with enough to sew the top shut and to weave down through the doll. Just so you know it's not ever going to come open. So what you're going to do here is you're going to go just under one piece of yarn. You're going to go in and then you're going to go out this one. You don't have to pull tight. Not yet, anyway. So you're going to do it again. In and then out the other one. In and out. One more time. In and out. So you're back around. Now all you're going to do is pull. And you're going to close that up right at the top there. So pull as tight as you can. This is where you ended up off. I would just come across and go down and up again just to secure that at the top. You can push down and pull. It kind of keeps, so you don't get a lumpy lump on the top. So from here, all you're going to do is go down as close as you can to this. You're going to go down, so it just looks like a stitch, and then you're just going to pop out somewhere, wherever you pop out. And you're just going to weave in and out like that. Move your stuffing around. Get the shape that you want with your head. I want more of a flattened shape. And again, go down as close as you can to your lead, so it just looks like a stitch. And pop out wherever it pops out. So just do that a few times in different directions. Don't pull tight. You just want to pull it so that that just looks like a stitch. If you pull tight, you're going to get a divot in your head, and you don't want a divot in your head. So I'm going to do different directions so that if something does happen and it gets pulled on and it tries to come out, it needs to go in different directions in order to do that. So I want to kind of confuse the piece of yarn. I'm also going to tie a knot. Just for added security. So that knot, theory is, it's going to get stuck on the stuffing. So once my knot is tied, I'm just going to push that and the tail right down into the stuffing. And there you've got your head. So I think next we can probably switch to back to pink. So we'll get rid of the white for now. And switch back to your pink, and we'll get the dress done on the doll. first. So I am going to start at the back. Whatever you've chosen for your back, we're going to start there. So decide where you want the dress. We're doing 4 rows and a ruffle. This is where I started. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And then we're doing this little dealie. And then we're doing the ruffle. So all together we're doing 6 rows because I got a double crochet in there. So all together we're doing 6 rows. So depending on where you want your dress, if you want your dress to hang down just here, which is what I've done, then you need to just count up 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's where you're gonna start with your attachment. So we're just gonna make stitches. So make a slip knot. You don't need to have it on your hook right now, but you can if you want. It's not a huge big deal however you do this. We're doing it at the back of the doll. So again, I'm just going to count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or my rows, sorry. So start somewhere in here, and you're going to pick up a post. So this here is called a post. And you want to pick one of them up, and that's where you're going to make your stitches on. So then you're going to just grab your yarn. Now this is just the start, so excuse the great big slip knot that's there. It's not going to look as bad. And because we worked in a spiral, yes, there will be a spiral. So I'm just going to pull both my ends. And you're just going to do that all the way around. So I'm going to pick up another post, and I'm going to add a stitch. So it gets easier now that this knot's not here. Pick up another post. So you're going to do this all the way around, and then yes, we're going to be working in the spiral, so we're going to come back around. We're going to be up here, but I'll show you how to do it where you won't even notice, but it's another reason we do it at the back of the doll. So I've come back around to where I'm not even at all with my other row that I started. So once you get up, I've got a post right there. But instead of going here, I'm going to go down like that. So you're going to go in on a diagonal and create a stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch to the first stitch that you made. You're going to put that slip stitch in there. And you'll see that at the end of all this, you're not even going to, well, you can't hardly tell now that you just did what you just did. Because it looks like it's straight. I mean, I'm pulling it up, but just looks like, doesn't look like you did what you did. So that's how you get around that, where it's not going to be noticeable. And then after the dress is actually built on, like you can't see where I did mine. You can't. Well, I did mine at the back, plus I got a tail that's right there anyway. So from here, now that you've got all your stitches made, you're going to do 1 single crochet in each of these stitches. I have no idea how many stitches. I actually didn't count mine. It all depends on where you've put it on the doll, like where you've started. So I don't know how many stitches that you have here. But you're going to put 1 in each of those stitches all the way around. And you're going to do that for 4 rows. And then I'll meet you back here after. And we'll finish the dress together. Okay, so I counted my stitches, and I've got 48. So I somewhere in the doll where I had 48 across, which there was a spot. So I'm to the end of my 4 rows. I'm going to slip stitch and I'm going to chain 2 because this next round is going to be 1 double crochet in each stitch around. If you're at the same spot I am, you're going to have 48 stitches. So I will do my 1 double crochet in each stitch around for 48 stitches, and I will meet you back here and we will do the scallops. Alright, so I've come back around. This was my chain 2. So I've got 1 more stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. So right there. So this next round is going to be the scalloped round. So chain 2, because you're going to do double crochets for the scallops. So you're going to go into the first stitch. You're going to do 3 double crochets in that stitch. You're going to skip 1. You're going to go into the next one. You're going to single crochet. Then right back into the very next one, and you're going to put 3 double crochets. You're going to skip 1, go into the next one, and single crochet. So that is what you're going to get. And then right into the next one into 3 double crochets. So you're going to do that all the way around, and I will meet you back if I can manage to hit the hole. I will meet you back around on the other side to show you what to do before you end it. And then we'll fasten off together. Alright, so I'm at my 3 double crochets, skip 1, and put my single crochet in here. So, because we're so close to where I chained 2, I'm going to put 2 double crochets in here. And then I'm going to scooch across, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that first chain. So that looks like it's 3. Because I had the chain from over on this side, I put 2 in there. So that's how you're going to finish it, and that way it just looks like, I don't know if you could tell, let me take my hook out, it just looks like part of the normal scallop on the dress. So that's how you're going to finish it, so it's not really that noticeable. It's at the back, it should be at the back. So you can just fasten off at this point. So we're just going to tuck this guy on the bottom part of the dress. I'm going to go down into that stitch. There's really no rhyme or reason to weaving in, but I'm going to pull down so that you can't see that bump. So it just looks like a scallop. And then I'm just going to weave in and out all over the show. So again, it's not really noticeable. And now I'm going to go down into the doll and then do my knot dealy. And so I just want to stay into the pink area. So I just went down into the stuffing, and then I'm just going to tie a knot. It's not a tight knot, it's just a knot. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'm going to jam that knot down into the stuffing of the leg. So that should hold that. And then this, whoops, I got this all caught. Not sure how that happened. Now I gotta pull. Stuff that down in there. Oh, I gotta pull. So for this slip knot, I'm just gonna go right down into the doll with it. So I don't have much left because I just had to cut some off. So hopefully you've got more. Anyway, pull that through. And then I'm just going to pull this down into the doll so that it's not really noticeable. Anyway, there's your dress. All done. So I do the arms last on a doll. So I think next we'll do the ears. So you're going to need your white again. So you're going to need to make a slip knot or a magic ring. You put 8 single crochets inside that magic ring. If you don't want to do the magic ring, you can chain 2, and then in the first stitch you can put 8 single crochets, or 7, sorry, chain 2, and in the first stitch put 7 single crochets, because the other part of it will be counted as a stitch. You can do the exact same thing and then pull it. You'll get the exact same thing. It's just easier for some people. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around in each of the 8 stitches for the next 2 rows. So the reason I did this is because I wanted pointy ears. So that's why I jumped right into single crochets. There's 1 round. Make sure you keep your middle closed. You can tie a knot if you want. Turn it inside out at this point. Actually, no. First, before we do that, pull tight on to close that circle right up. Then you can tie a knot. I just try to get as close as I can. I don't cut all of it off because it will come undone if you try to get too close to that knot. So now we can turn it right side in. Now you're going to do 1 single crochet with an increase. That's 1 single crochet. Your next stitch will get 2 single crochets. So at the end of this you should have 12 stitches. Next stitch gets 1. Next stitch gets 2. That's your increase. 1, 2, 1, 2 all the way around. And you should end at your stitch marker with your 2 single crochets in the same hole. So you should have 12 stitches at this point. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. So there's one with your stitch marker. There's single crochet number 2, so 2 single crochets, and then the next stitch gets to increase. So 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 all the way around, and at the end you should have 16 stitches. Sorry, my camera stopped recording for some reason. So for the next 3 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of those 16 stitches. And that is the end of your ear. So make 2. And so when I sewed these on, they were still open. I did not sew them shut to sew them on. But it is completely up to you. I found it easier to sew it on this way, and I did not stuff them. So they're not stuffed and they're not sewn shut. So make 2, and I'll meet you back here after that, and I'll sew 1 on with you. Alright, so I've got both of mine done, and I got one of mine sewn on. So you're going to do a slip knot, and you're going to fasten off, and then I want you to come through this stitch. Grab your yarn and pull through. So if it makes your life easier, you can go ahead and sew this bottom shut. I didn't, so I'm not going to do it for this one. But either way, it doesn't matter. It might be easier for you to sew it on. I find it just as difficult to sew it on, especially on camera. So that's where I put my other one, was right. That's my middle where I pulled it shut. So I'm just to that side. So I'm going to do the same thing with this ear. I can't guarantee that I'm going to stay completely on camera for any of this, because it is very difficult, and I'm probably not going to finish doing it with you. So you're just going to go down into the doll, and you're going to come up into the ear, just into the stitches. So you're not coming up, you're just coming up into the stitches, and you're going to go down as close as you can to the ear, down inside the doll, and you're going to come up into a stitch. So that's what's called invisible stitches, because when you pull on this here is going to get sucked underneath the ear, and you're not going to be able to see your stitches. So that's how I would suggest you sew on your ear. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's not sewn shut at the top or if it is sewn shut at the top. But when I sewed this one on, I did pull it apart a little bit so that I could have some bit of a depth. That's just the way I prefer to do it. You don't need to do it that way. You can do it any way you want. So again, down into the doll, up into a stitch, and I'm going stitch for stitch. I'm not missing stitches. So that's how I'm going to complete my ear, and I will meet you back here after your ear is done. So once you have your ear sewn on, then you can just go down into the ear and pop out somewhere, and then you can just weave your end in back and forth, not pulling tight, because you just want that to look like a stitch right there and not a weave. And then you can make a knot, not like that. Make a knot and then bring it down as close as you can. You don't have to make it super tight because you want it to be somewhat of a little bit of a size, because you want that to get pushed down and then jammed into the stuffing. So tail and all, push that down. There, I got my ears done. I don't think they're quite even, but I'm gonna have a great big bow right here. So get some yellow and get some black, and I'll meet you back here and we can do the face.